Have you ever been humiliated so deeply that it felt like your soul shattered in public? What would you do if, after being ridiculed, drenched, and disrespected in front of your coworkers, your entire life changed because someone you loved finally said, "Enough"? Stay with me, because this one will stay with you forever. It was a bright Monday morning, the kind where the city feels like it's buzzing with a fresh start. Birds chirped outside the grimy windows of the downtown corporate tower where Angela Green worked as an office assistant. Her shift started at 7:30 sharp, and she was never late. Not once in 4 years. Angela, a proud black woman in her early 40s, carried herself with a gentle grace. Her hair, coiled beautifully into a neat bun, framed a face marked by quiet resilience. She had the kind of smile that warmed the room, even when people pretended not to see it. The office was cold, figuratively and literally. Colleagues nodded without eye contact. The higher-ups, dressed in tailored suits and entitlement, barely remembered her name. But Angela, he showed up, day after day, quiet, diligent, invisible, or so they thought. It started as murmurs. Side eyes when she walked in. Missing invites to team lunches. Being the last to know when meetings moved. Angela brushed it off. But then things turned cruel. On a rainy Thursday, Angela returned from her lunch break to find her desk moved, replaced by a mop and bucket. Passive-aggressive joke, they claimed. "It's just a prank, lighten up." The receptionist, Chloe, smirked, sipping her iced coffee. Angela, holding back tears, smiled anyway. "I'll just get back to work." They laughed. Loudly, cruelly. And then came Friday, the day everything changed. Angela was restocking the supply cabinet when someone called her name. She turned around and felt a sudden freezing splash. A full can of Coca-Cola burst down her shirt, soaking through her blouse and clinging to her skin. Sticky, cold, shocking. The room erupted with laughter. "Oops," muttered Kyle, the smug junior manager who'd never spoken to her unless barking orders. "Didn't see you there." Angela stood frozen, shaking, humiliated. No apology. No one stepped in. Until the elevator dinged. Out stepped a tall man in an unassuming black hoodie, jeans, and running shoes. He looked out of place. Too casual for the corporate floor. But his presence, it commanded silence. His eyes locked onto Angela. Time froze. And then Angela gasped. "Malcolm!" Gasps followed. Because Malcolm Green wasn't just Angela's husband. He was the CEO of Green Core Technologies. Billionaire. Philanthropist. Innovator. Owner of the building they all worked in. And he was furious. He stepped forward, taking off his hoodie, draping it over his wife's soaked shoulders with the tenderness of a man who saw her pain and would burn the world for it. "What happened?" he asked quietly. Angela's lips quivered. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Her silence was enough. Malcolm turned slowly, deliberately, scanning every face in the room. The laughter had vanished, replaced with dread. "You," he pointed to Kyle. "Name." "K. Kyle, sir." "You're fired." Chloe tried to speak. "Wait, we didn't know." "Ooh." "Also fired." And then, turning to the floor manager. "Everyone who stood and laughed, you have until the end of the day to clean out your desks." Dead silence. Angela whispered. "You didn't have to do that." Malcolm looked into her eyes. "Angela, you've protected everyone your whole life. It's time someone protected you." The next day, Malcolm called a press conference. Not for revenge. For purpose. "This isn't about my wife," he said. "This is about every unseen soul who shows up every day and is treated as if they don't matter." He launched the Dignity at Work Foundation, providing legal support, job training, and counseling for victims of workplace bullying and racial discrimination. But the kindness didn't stop there. Angela returned, not to the assistant desk, but as the chief culture officer, tasked with ensuring equity and respect in every company Green Core partnered with. She hired those who had been overlooked. Single mothers, the elderly, the formerly incarcerated, and people of color who had been systemically shut out. Angela's first hire. Marcy, a young intern with autism who had once been mocked for being too slow. Angela remembered, because she'd been there. At Green Corps' annual conference 6 months later, Angela stood on stage before thousands. "I was the woman no one saw," she began, voice shaking. "But someone saw me. Someone believed I mattered. That belief, it can change a life. So be the person who sees. Be the one who acts. Be kind. Because you never know who you're standing next to." The room erupted in applause. Not just for her, but for every unsung hero she now represented. That night, Angela walked through the same hallway where she'd once stood, drenched and humiliated. She paused by the cabinet. It still smelled faintly of Coca-Cola. She smiled. Not with bitterness, but with triumph. Because she knew, no stain could outlast the power of love, dignity, and kindness. If Angela's story moved you, if you've ever felt invisible and wish someone would just stand up for you, leave a red heart in the comments and tell us your story. Kindness changes lives. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch our next story. They laughed at the homeless man in class until he solved the final exam no one could. Stay hopeful. Stay human.